Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second workshop hosted by CREATE. It's called Create an Alternative Pathway to Construction Trades and/or Employment. Please note that this webinar will be recorded and published on the CREATE website, CREATE's YouTube channel, and distributed on other outlets as an educational tool for interested parties that are not able to attend today's workshop. Today, we had two very important workshops. I hope you joined us in the morning, where we talked about a lot of the opportunities for the construction trade and for people to get into the union. Now you're going to hear supportive services and alternative pathways, because the goal is to get people and companies in the affected area of the project and throughout the state of Illinois in this transportation and infrastructure involved in the economic opportunities provided by CREATE, as well as the infrastructure bill that is coming, the federal bill that will affect us here in Illinois. I am going to wait until I get a go-ahead from Kyle to start, so we'll just pause until then. A little housekeeping. Everyone will be muted except for our panelists today. You can put your questions into the chat feature. You can raise your hand. We will use the chat to send in questions and comments, and you will be able to follow up with Trino and Milkel staff after this event. So the workshop is going to consist of panelists that I will introduce. We'll have great conversation. We're going to unpack some of the information we heard today. We're going to talk about a pilot program that the CREATE team had the forethought to put together that will help support the union trades, the construction trades, to draw, attract, and have people successfully employed in the unions and trades. And we're going to connect you with some experts, workforce agencies who are excellent at what they do. And through their connection and through their partnership, not only are we collaborating and uplifting the good work that they're doing, but we're all accomplishing our common goal of employment on this project. I would like to thank CSX Railroad, Parsons, as well as all the partners that are part of this CREATE, whose logo is demonstrated that you see in front of you. Without any further ado, I think we will get started. And if that is the case, I'm going to introduce Melinda Chandler.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Melinda Chandler, and thank you for joining us for workshop number 2, Create an Alternative Pathway into the Construction Trades, Employment, and/or the Union. When you live in a community and you hear about huge infrastructure and transportation projects, you can't help but wonder what jobs will be available on the project. We now know with Create. I am grateful that CSX, on behalf of Create, that a workforce development training program was established that provides an alternative pathway to employment for people who are not quite ready or able for a construction job or a job in the trades during a national pandemic and high unemployment environment. Again, my name is Lorinda Chandler, and I would like to share my experience and others' experience who participated in the CSX Workforce Program. If we could play video now, please.
My name is Lorinda Chandler, and before I say anything, I want to give a really, really big thank you to the CSX Railroad, Milkel Workforce Development Strategy, as well as the Chatham Business Association. I was desperate and discouraged at the time, and it seemed as if the opportunity fell into my lap at the perfect time. The background process was very thorough. We partnered with AGB, which is a Black-owned security facility located in the 18th Ward. So it's a beautiful state-of-the-art facility. When we first entered, we would have a machine take our temperature, so there was nobody there, you know, having any type of physical interaction with us on that part. The computer would take our temperature and let the person at the front desk know if we were okay to proceed, and then they would let us know. We all sat socially distanced and completed our tax paperwork. We partnered with the Family Center in Inglewood. Once we arrived there, we were notified that we would be taking like a reading and a math assessment. We were also told that there's no pressure. We just want to see like what you know so far, and once we get your results, we also get you a prescription to let you know that you can go online and, you know, work on what wasn't your strong suit, whether it be math or reading. That way, when it was time for maybe a position with the CSX Railroad, you would feel more comfortable.
My name is Terrence Mills, and I first and foremost want to thank Chatham Business Association, and I want to thank CSX Railroad Association. I just want to say this was a very impactful and inspiring opportunity for me. I enrolled in the community college portion that was called Mechatronics. Some of the subjects were PPE, general safety with OSHA 10, also how a factory works. There are many sensors, operating systems. I know that the CREATE program is in order to untangle the railroad systems in the community where I live. And that's why I want to thank CSX for this opportunity. This was an opportunity that actually helped me get into the Construct program. It's also sponsored by ComEd, and now I'm a Construct student on my way to graduation. I would also like to say that this program has been very flexible for me. I was also working as a barista at Starbucks on 87th, and I was also maintaining my music career. So this program was very flexible with my hours, and I really appreciated that. And that's why I want to thank CSX for this opportunity. I want to thank Milkel and Workforce Development Strategies as well.
My name is Carl Murray, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank CSX Railroad. Alderman David Moore introduced me to the program in the 17th Ward about the training that is afforded about jobs with CSX Railroad. Chatham Business Association, along with CSX, were afforded me the opportunity to attend Richard J. Daley College. The opportunity at Richard J. Daley College will allow me to learn 4.0 mechatronics and also robotics and CNC, electricity, and welding. Because of the opportunity created by CREATE and CSX, I was able to complete a program at Dawson, Highway Construction Career Training Program.
I'm Andrew Taylor. I'd also like to thank the Chatham Business Association and CSX Railroad. I heard about the program through Alderman Moore. New skills that I learned mechatronics and tabletop manufacturing. I plan to apply the skills that I was given through this opportunity in real life. I've already been applying them. I've worked in a short period of time in a factory, so I'm looking to further my skills in that. What I learned about this opportunity is I'm more of a people person than I thought I was. The Richard Day Daily course allowed me to work in my program and also become a skilled worker because that's what's leading the job market. I'm grateful for this program because the CREATE program is in my community. I would like to thank Milkel and Workforce Development Strategists.
My name is Troy Williams. I first would like to thank CSX. I would like to thank Milkel Workforce Development Strategies. I enrolled in the 4.0 Mechatronics class at Richard J. Daley College, and it was a virtual class. And we were offered through the Chatham Business Association Chromebooks and hotspots. That really made it very simple and easy for us to participate in that class.
All right, thank you again for taking a look at that video. And now I would like to introduce the workshop moderator, Melinda Kelly of Milkel Group.
Thank you so much, Lorinda. You know, whether you are Lorinda Chandler, who now works for Chatham Business Association, one of the non-for-profits that we were able to bring in because now they're on cohort 2, facilitating the graduation of the 20 pilot program residents who participated in the program and benefited from the program, or whether you are like Terrence, who is from 60652, who you heard from, who originally wanted to do work a construction trade job, but when he learned about other opportunities.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for that wonderful presentation and inspiring to
and decided to go into the ComEd Construct program, or whether you were Carl, who completed the program at Dawson, but still wanted additional OSHA training, wanted some academic support moving forward, and is still determined to work on the construction trade or in the union trades. We want to make sure that not one person is left behind, and CREATE, the team, had the forethought to pilot a program addressing a lot of the things that you heard earlier. But before I go on, I wanted to see if I can get a few opening and welcoming comments from some of their CREATE teams. You heard from that presentation, if you were on today, it was organized by Alicia from Trinal. And I'm going to have her recap the workshop she did today, but if she wanted to say hello, she can. Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Alicia Garcia Abner. And Melinda, thank you for letting me, attend this. I'm so excited about listening to your workshop. We had a great workshop earlier. We had a number of representatives from the unions, which was giving information as to how you can join the unions, as well as other outlets, which kind of led into Melinda's program right now, as far as alternative pathways. And I'm just really excited, glad to have been given the opportunity to have done our workshop, and looking forward to hearing the rest of Melinda's workshop. Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you, Alicia. And Sam Tuck from IDOT, can I get you to say a few words before I introduce the panel?
Sure, thank you, Melinda. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just glad to be a part of this presentation. As we move forward, I think it's very imperative that we do more with social justice, look at some of the environmental commitments the CREATE team has looked at. We are seeing, even in the White House, that a massive infrastructure bill is going to be passed. And one of those things is equity, diversity. It's a huge pie, and I think that we all can have a part of that pie. and all thrive, especially coming out of this pandemic. We need to be well prepared, as we heard from our earlier presentation that we had with the union forces. And even today, we're even finding examples of how that is moving so far with the presentation that Melinda is doing right now. So I just want to say thanks for everybody participating. We will have this online. Probably didn't catch a whole bunch of people. If we did, we did. But if we don't, the one thing is the message and getting it out. And so I appreciate everybody for attending.
Thank you, Sam. If there are any other Create partners, I see Michael. You might want to chime in now before I introduce the panels, and welcome.
Yeah,
With your
Melinda,
welcome.
Sure, thank you. Michael Kowalski, Federal Highway Administration, Illinois Division. Again, we had a wonderful group of presentations this morning. We recorded them. In my closing remarks this morning, I mentioned if you have friends or family that weren't able to attend today, please send this to them. You know, it's that networking that we need you to do on the ground to help us get this message out, that the Create partners are doing such a great job of putting together. These two sessions are going to be absolutely wonderful. Sam touched on the infrastructure bill. That's making its way through DC right now. And as I mentioned this morning, Chicago has always poised itself to be, you know, the rail hub of America. And, you know, with the last 17 months, it's been extremely difficult on everybody. And the Create partners want to make sure that we're taking into account environmental justice, opportunities for the community, as well as getting these projects into the community to just benefit moving around, going to school, work, and church every day, you know, getting these grade separation projects built and getting you more fluid through the system. So I'm sure we're going to touch on the DBE goals at the federal and state level throughout this presentation, you know, as well as IDOT's Highway Construction Career Training Program, as we call it, the HCCTP. It is a federally reimbursable program, and we say it's the Highway Construction Career Training Program, but IDOT was instrumental, and all the Create partners were instrumental in pushing this to become a part of the Create program. Again, to take those opportunities for people new to the trades, as well as giving contractors kind of that incentive to bring new people in. There's going to be a lot of work. You know, again, as we say, Chicago's the freight rail hub of America, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here in the coming years and decades. So getting your foot in now is just wonderful. They're all going to do a wonderful job, and these presenters are just going to give you kind of those tools to get your foot in the door and get to those wonderful jobs that will provide you that opportunity.
Thank you, Mike.
This is Cecilia with Cook County, and I couldn't be more than excited and motivated with the panelists and the forum. So great and happy to be part of this as far as a member of Cook County as a transportation planner, and I'm looking forward to some actions being done as a result of all the information that we're pushing out. And I couldn't echo more what Sam and Michael has said, that we need to share this with people we know. So that's my chime in on this, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Cecilia. Is there anyone from Metro Strategies? We go a big thanks to Metro Strategies, who's been working with us over the last few years, Trino and myself, as we did work assessments from the community, worked on this project, worked with the design team, and thank you so much for Parsons. So if I have not missed any other partners who would like to say opening comments, what I will do is begin to introduce the panel. So on our panel today, as I mentioned, if you don't walk away from anything else, please know that whether you're a company or an individual, an agency, you're not alone. We can do this together. There are a lot of online opportunities, but sometimes in the community with which we work, some people need a cheering squad. They need people to be able to hold their hand, and help them create their alternative pathway to employment, their pathway to success. As we began to put this pilot program, the Milkel team brought workforce development agencies, subject matter experts together, and great community partners so that we could work to make sure that the constituency on this project reflects the community in which the project is being created. One of the most important partners we bought that we feel is a treasurer within our community is the city colleges. You heard earlier from IBEW about there at Olive Harvey. You got Dawson Tech. One of the colleges we focused on for this pilot program is with Richard J. Daley College. So go back one slide, Charles. I am going to ask one of the panelists who you will hear from more to talk a little bit about the R.J. Daley Community College for Local Residents cohort. And her name is Sheryl Freeman Smith. Sheryl, you want to introduce yourself? Talk a little bit about the collaborations you do with community colleges and other learning institutions and how you help create a pipeline of workers that can meet workforce needs of any industry.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Sheryl Freeman Smith, and I am the current dean at Olive Harvey College of all transportation, distribution, logistics programming. But I just took this role in July. So before that, I was at our district office. And when I connected with Melinda, we saw some of the needs of the folks to kind of give them some hands-on training, not necessarily construction training, because there's some other things that we had to work on before we got to that point. So we looked at some of the programming over at Richard J. Daley College. And the programs we looked at were mechatronics and robotics programming. It taught them how to read blueprints, measuring, understand mechanical aspects. But if we could go to the next slide, Charles, I can go into a little more detail. So they did introduction to advanced manufacturing. They learned some safety responsibility with OSHA. They learned about hazardous material standards, about equipment and PPEs, blueprint reading, as I mentioned. But overall, partnering with other organizations such as Iman, and they'll have an opportunity to speak. This has been instrumental in connecting the community to some of these training programs. And then, of course, being a workforce strategic person, making sure that we can get them connected to opportunities that lead them to being prepared when the construction opportunities become available.
And Sheryl, since you mentioned Iman, and Tanisha Coleman is here, she's the interim director for Green Reentry for Iman. Iman, why don't you introduce yourself? Let folks know where you're located and what Iman does.
Sure. So hi, I'm Tanisha Coleman. I am the interim director of Green Reentry, just like Melinda said. Also honored to be on this panel as well. Intercity Iman stands for Inner City Muslim Action Network. It's rooted and grounded with organizing in the veins of it, but there to actually help the community. We are centralized in Inglewood and Chicago Lawn. Our organization has a few arms to it. We have a federally qualified health center. We also do arts and culture organizing, like I said, which is how we first started. And then we have our Green Reentry programming that offers both a Weekend Warriors component where we're partnering with the City Colleges of Chicago, Richard J. Daley campus location. And then we also have our year-round NCCER construction training program that offers 3 trades: electrical, carpentry, and HVAC. So we do all of that with a holistic approach. We give all of our participants behavioral health therapy. We also include CBI therapy training, as well as while they're going through and getting the hands-on skills as it pertains to the trades that they select. So really excited about being here to give a little bit more in depth, and also give some of our experience on working with individuals that we partner with as well. Thank you.
And you heard a lot today about the academics, the math. One of the partners that was crucial to the success of this pilot program is Dr. Jonathan Mckenzie. Since 1997, a jewel in Inglewood is the family-centered educational agency. Dr. Mckenzie provided academic assessments and prescriptions to the CSX workforce cohort. And what that allowed some of the cohorts to do is to advance multiple grade levels using prescriptions online. But before I go any further, let me introduce Dr. Jonathan Mckenzie.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dr. Jonathan Mckenzie, Chief Executive Officer for the Family Centered Educational Agency, and I am in search of the perfect internet connection, and that's why I'm in my vehicle, because I was having some problems at another location. At any rate, yes, since 1997, we have helped students, low-income, first-generation students, to go to colleges and universities all across the country. But prior to sending them into educational programs and training programs and certification programs, we give them an academic assessment to assess their readiness for rigor. A lot of times companies will hire individuals and they're deficient in the areas of language arts and mathematics. And so we want to send them prepared. And so we worked in partnership with this initiative to assess the academic needs and the academic level of readiness for participants. And I like to say our curriculum is available 24/7, 365. So after taking this assessment, there were modules that were assigned to every student that if they were to master these modules, these weak areas that they tested in, they would actually improve their skill set and be more ready for the career fields that they step into. So they had access to this program 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year, and it's all virtual. But we actually did the testing in person during a COVID environment, and masked up in a facility in Inglewood that was ready to accommodate up to 200 individuals per testing opportunity. So that's just a little bit about us, and looking forward to doing more in the community and assisting more people. We've actually written a grant that we're waiting to hear about. It's called an Educational Opportunities Centers grant that will allow us to serve 1,000 adults this year, and helping them to get into certification programs, to get their certifications, get their degrees, their associate's degrees. And we're partnering with Kennedy King College on this particular initiative because it's designed to assist residents in the West Inglewood area. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mckenzie. One of the things that we would not have been able to do all this without support. And I just want to mention, when we did this pilot program, after working a few years with the design team and with CSX and assessing the community, and COVID hit, but we recognized that the CREATE project was still moving forward, and we were charged with getting folks ready. That meant that during COVID, we had to keep them safe. We had to supply them with some sort of online learning process as we made the 4.0 mechatronics, the City College courses online. They were given Chromebooks. They were given hotspots. They were also paid by connecting corporations together, such as ComEd, to the tune of $20 an hour to not only for their academic stipend, but more importantly also to educate the community on how to keep their lights all on during COVID with the different programs. So the program, that pilot program, and I call it the seed that this CREATE team has built, will allow individuals, will allow companies to build up their workforce staff, have access to a pipeline, but also have support. We would not have been able to do this pilot program without the leadership and foresight of Parsons, the design team, but also Tom Livingston of CSX Railroad. He's head of state governmental relations and community affairs. And Tom, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself as if none of us know who you are.
Okay, well, thanks, Melinda, and hello, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. This is really important to us. So CSX is a freight railroad. We're in just about every state and many provinces east of the Mississippi River. We do both intermodal and more traditional freight. And Chicago and the regions around Chicago, the counties around Chicago, are the real hub of North America. So with that comes a lot of yards and terminals and projects. And really, we couldn't be more motivated and honored to be a partner with a lot of the public partners who are on the call today. And of course, one of the crown jewels in the city colleges. So to be affiliated in a training program, thanks to the Herculean effort of Melinda, is really something we're quite proud of and heartened by. So as I said, pathways to employment are important to us. We need employees now to move trains, to do operations, www.csx.com. We're in a hiring mode. Melinda referenced the whole idea of the essential nature, the continuity of what city colleges did to make this happen. Railroading is an essential industry. It's something where the supply chain must continue through all seasons of the years, through all holidays of the years of the year. And so CSX is an entity that both moves trucks to rail and rail to truck, and then on to the different ports. So there's a lot of connectivity with other regions. And my job is to work across our network with organizations, state governments, local communities to really add a vibrancy. If you want to do something about climate change, work with a railroad. If you want to do something about economic expansion, work with a railroad. There's just no better way to move goods on land from a fuel efficiency standpoint, a green standpoint, than a freight railroad. So the fact that we're doing this and building this out in Chicago with training is just really important. And Melinda, I look forward to the conversation. But again, CSX is grateful for your efforts, for Parsons' efforts, and all the partners here today.
Thank you, Tom. So what I've asked Charles, who thank you so much for you and Kyle for helping us, is to bring the panel back in, because we heard a lot this morning. We heard, I mean, it's just a great time to be looking for a job, to be quite honest, right now, with the infrastructure bill, with things coming in. So why don't we talk a little bit, Tanisha, let me start with you. I am so intrigued with the Weekend Warriors program because it addresses quite a few things. Can you talk a little bit about the program and connecting you with the partners and the different railroads to know about the program? Because again, I think that it would behoove them to partner with folks that are in the community doing the work, have the trust of the constituents we're targeting to get them into the unions, or at least help them identify the alternative path.
So thank you. Yeah, Weekend Warriors was a pilot program that happened in 2019. By, of course, my executive director, Rami Nashashibi, and a few others on the team. So the real goal was to try to get individuals that were heavily street involved, that were looking at that pivot and change, really try to preserve, their life and also give them an education. So we started with about maybe 12 individuals, and I believe 10 actually made it through. And from that point, we actually looked at it and said, is this something we can do continually? And then, of course, COVID hit. So at the end of 2019, we had the pilot, COVID hit, and then we realized that we couldn't stop what we were doing because we were still fighting the violence that happens in the areas that we serve in. So we had to figure out how to do it safely, but still bring it back on board. So we brought it back on board last year, and now we're doing it all year round. Actually, we're expanding the cohort where We will have 4 cohorts going at once at daily coming up in the fall. But the overall goal is to really get individuals like soak up that time on the weekend so they don't have any time to get into anything else. They go from Friday, 3 p.m. all the way up till Sunday, 9 p.m. So we got them all weekend long. The longest day is Saturday. We have them from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So all they have is classes. They have the supportive services, which is behavioral health therapy. They do some CBI. They also do some arts and culture. A few of our past cohorts have actually they've actually produced songs and videos, which we've been really proud of them tapping into their creativity. And then, really just having individuals really be locked in. This is the first time around, and we've actually been able to continue one cohort to the next. And we were able to also bring back our pilot cohort as well to bring them back in because the curriculum had changed. So again, it's so many efforts and so many things that we're targeting all in that 32-hour span over a weekend. So it's actually to give them an education, preserve their life, and then also help them to be locked in and become better citizens.
And I just want to mention, let's talk about returning citizens. When we did the assessment in the community, there are more returning citizens looking for jobs than non-returning citizens.
Yes.
And Dr. Mckenzie, I hope you can hear, because I know this is an area you specialize in as well. Do you foresee any barriers for them being engaged in union jobs, construction trades?
I do not. For citizens or non-citizens?
For returning citizens.
Oh, no, I don't see any problems at all.
What are some of the best ways that we can create pathways to entry-level jobs in transportation, construction, or in other fields?
Well, from my perspective, Melinda, and then I'll stop talking. From my perspective, it's really those relationships that are important with contractors, and actually making sure that they understand what we're providing and that there are actual individuals that are getting the skill set that's needed in order to transition into those areas. I think a lot of times they forget that these are community organizations that are looking to help individuals like returning citizens and high-risk involved youth. Giving them those hands-on skills that they've actually not been able to actually get from other particular organizations. So it's just really creating those relationships and actually letting them see what we're doing and how beneficial it is for their organization as well.
Tom, I have to say, I applaud you for buying into, when we first talked about this process and getting something going, the need to, this wasn't a mandatory program that you had to put in place. But I did watch you in action when you were meeting with community groups, community stakeholders, elected officials. And the topic of the conversation a lot was about what are you doing about jobs? So can you think about the thought process that sort of led you? I know one of the things you asked of us was to make sure we did include city colleges in this pilot program. But can you talk about those conversations with stakeholders and the thought process that went into you making sure that this pilot program went into effect during a high unemployment and COVID pandemic?
Sure. Well, a lot of these projects, as you know, Melinda, they have lead times, and we really did feel that bought us some time to get ready so that in 2022, when ground is broken on the flyover that we're working on, we wouldn't arrive at a point and not be ready. So when you have an entity like city colleges and the various programming out there, we didn't want to, we wanted to be intentional about outreach so that the many conversations I've had with community members, elected officials, number one on their list was job creation and also just staying close with the community. And so, they are partners of ours. And so we take that seriously. We have a very diverse workforce as it is, but this is something we want to improve upon. This project that we're working on is, in the heart of the 17th and 18th ward into the 16th ward. And we really felt like when we opened our yard at 59th Street in 1999, half of our workforce came from the zip code right around the yard. A tremendous workforce, people who really got the job done, stayed in their communities, and it was a way of investing in each other. So we had some experience with it just up the railroad, and this is on an even larger scale. And it does take lead time. So to certify, to get going, we just couldn't sit around and wait. And so this program allowed us to get a jump start.
Great. Cheryl, you want to add on the comments to that?
Oh, I think, this has been a great opportunity to look at ways to get people from the community connected to this opportunity. So part of why Richard J. Daley was chosen is because they are in that realm of location, as well as they had received some educational funding to provide people from the community opportunity to know more about this industry. So it was a win-win, looking at how to pair the programming to the needs. Those students ended up getting some welding training. They started out with mechatronics. And so there may be some opportunities that come up in the near future that they can be connected to, in addition to the other works that we've done with them.
One of the things I was so impressed with the partnership with the workforce agencies is that this is a costly process, right, to get folks employed and to provide them technical assistance. So you touched on it, Cheryl. What the CREATE partnership did was put their DBE diversity consultants to work to get funding from other corporations, to city colleges to do what they could do so that we could offer the services free to folks. But in addition to that, amongst the pandemic, pay them while they participate and improve their skills. So that's important to know to companies, to our CREATE partners who are looking in ways to increase their pipeline or to access the pipeline that has already been created. Because to date, we have over 5,000 people in the pipeline who we have touched as a result of a pilot program that happened last year that launched of people looking for help. And what that allows us to do is to take some folks who receptionists in the area who had lost their job, and although they're not going to work on CREATE, we were able to connect them with another workforce agency. They were able to improve their skills in medical billing, which we found there was some overlapping skills there, and then they're working at Rush Hospital. So the goal is that I think CREATE is successfully doing is creating a sustainable platform for people who are, and companies who are looking to access the workforce, and people who are looking for jobs to continue to do that and do it with some help. A lot of what we heard today, those of us, and Dr. McKenzie, you know this as well, we've had pilot programs where it's taken us 6 months to teach people just to come to work on time. So what you want to do is make sure that we can get those kinks out of people to get them ready into the union, ready to prepare to travel, as was recommended on some of the panelists earlier today. Dr. McKenzie, I think you brought up the subject inadvertently, I think, about non-citizens. Did you do that? Because I know that in the community, there is a diverse group of citizens. Some are US citizens and some are not. But by adding experts like yourself and Iman and other workforce organizations to this connectivity, it gives us where we can point people in directions and get them the help they need, and no one stops moving forward. Did you want to add to that, Dr. McKenzie?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. There are we help students with financial aid and getting into certain programs. And so we try to find institutions that are friendly to citizens who are non-citizens to get help in getting into certain programs. So they just have to prove that they're in the country for other than a temporary purpose. And if they're able to do that through INS, we're able to help them to find institutions to attend to receive the training that they need in order to then work in various areas and other job areas.
So there is no reason that the people we touch, we can direct them, get them support, and help them find an alternative path. Sheryl, can you talk about what's going on at Olive Harvey now? I'm excited about the Department of Aviation, which some of the participants in the cohort are interested in that. We have the Discover Center in Chatham. I'm just telling you, it's just a great place to be in Illinois. But talk about the program at Department of Aviation that we've been able to expose the cohort to.
So at Olive Harvey College, it's been a wonderful opportunity to look at the sheet metal program that we have, and we call that the Aviation Tech program. It is a 10-week program. It is from 8 to 5, but in those 10 weeks, they're learning how to actually put the rivets on, understand how the metal bends and all those things, and the precursor welding opportunities so that they would be able to be ready to put the sheet metal on the plane. We've seen that these students are able to leave and go and be part of the sheet metal union, the HVAC union, and of course, if they choose to go into the aviation industry, we've partnered with AAR. And it's been wonderful to see the opportunity for those individuals that interview with AAR. They have committed to hiring 20% of our class each year. And so we host about 5 a year. And they've actually hired a lot more than that because there's a need in the industry. And so the locations that they hire students for are in Rockford and Indianapolis. So the students have that understanding when they start that if you want to do this in aviation, you'd have to start here. But the opportunity to get their A&P certification, now that AIM has moved to Chicago, Olive Harvey is partnering with them. And for our younger folks, for those in high school, we're starting an aviation maintenance program where it's you're in your junior year in high school, the first year, second year, you complete 4 of the blocks to receive the A&P certification at AIM, but 4 of those are done right here at Olive Harvey College. In addition, they get the 5th block done their end of their senior year. So when they start at AIM, they only need 12 blocks where normally it would take 17, and they're able to complete within 2 years. But because of our partnership, the normal tuition would be $48,000 to get the A&P certification to work on the engines of the plane. And they pay very well, over $70,000 a year. And the amazing thing is they're giving over 50% off the cost just because of the partnership. So if you've got some high schoolers that want to do aviation maintenance, we've started that program. It'll start on September 13th. If you have some adults that want to do the sheet metal program, that is ongoing. And if you are interested in learning more about that program, you can email myself, cfreeman26@ccc.edu, and I'll put it in the chat because I know it was fast. But it's been an amazing opportunity to work on the aviation side. So we have 2 programs, the sheet metal, which you're working on the outside of the plane, and the maintenance program, which you work on the inside of the plane.
Yes, there is no reason in the world, you know, when you have Trino who is on this team as well as Milkel, feel free to use us to help direct people in the path or connect them to who they need to talk to and where they need to be and how we can help. We can help companies put partnerships together. I know Trino and myself have done a lot of outreach, I think as well as WSP in the high schools in the area with the CTE program. It is all about making people aware. Sam Tuck has been at, I think, every student affair that it is. Our goal is to make sure that people know about the project. So besides the benefits of transportation and infrastructure, but pre or post COVID, the plan is that we have created a way for alternative pathways that people can easily identify and that fits with them and their personality and their ability, and to enhance skills where we need them to be. Alicia, I saw you picked in. Did you want to say something? Oh, you're on mute though. I can't hear you. I just see your face.
No, I didn't want to be the person behind the screen, given that you were making reference to us. But yes, everyone, Melinda and I work hand in hand. As she mentioned, our goal is to ensure as much as we can that there's not only continuity, as she made reference to, but that people aren't working toward unemployment. We want you to work and think about working toward a career. There are so many projects in addition to create out here in the Chicagoland area, in Illinois, that we want to see everyone who has gone through the steps, has been brought on by a contractor to be a part of their team, that they bring you on whenever they have a project that they're bidding on. So yes, we're here to rah-rah you, and we're here to be a resource for you so that you can get on these projects, so that we can feel good about having that little bit of satisfaction that we may have changed the pathway for you. So again, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Melinda. And again, just keep listening because you get more information by the moment.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Did anybody else want to make any information about, based on, tying in from what we heard this morning about unions working with the community, any observations, comments? You want to chime in before I hit with more questions? Okay. So I also see that I wanted to also make reference, Dr. Mckenzie, can you talk about the scholarship program and what your organization can also offer, not only our young people, but some of the adults in the community who are seeking to identify their pathway to success through employment, entrepreneurship, or through the construction trade?
Yeah, sure. We are a Title IV funded program, which means that Title IV is the same title that financial aid officers are funded under. And so we assist any student that comes into, or adult who comes into our programs can receive assistance with FAFSA assistance. They can receive assistance with obtaining state aid, as well as other forms of federal aid and private scholarships. On our website, we post at least 3 scholarships per week that our adults are encouraged to apply for. We also give out scholarships. Last year, we gave out $500 scholarships to students, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm at Illinois State University, giving away $1,000 scholarships to some of our students who are here, actually studying engineering and other things. And so, yeah, we assist families with all kinds of awards that are available, and we not only assist them with the applications, but we also teach them how to fish on their own and look for additional book scholarships and other things that help to reduce the cost of attending colleges such as Daly and Kennedy King and other state universities, and then other certification programs that are out there.
Thank you, Dr. Mckenzie. One of the things that I don't want to leave workforce too, but I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship. You heard from Terrence, who decided to start his own company through the Construct program. One of the other gentlemen on the video Troy, who decided after learning about Create and participating in the program, he's a veteran. He decides he wants to do his own trucking company. We have the experience to help entrepreneurs or folks who may be looking for a job to transition and support into entrepreneurship. Sheryl, do you want to talk about the program we put together with the gentleman that we had the CDL license and they turned into snow removal? We have the ability to take those companies and get them certified. MBE, connect them with partnership with larger DBE. IDOT has the means to do teaming agreements, which we have the expertise and knowledge to do. We even have a curricula for them. So I'm just gonna shift a little bit, not leave workforce, but can we talk about that just a little bit, because that's equally as important as the workforce component of the Create project.
You know, the amazing thing is how Melinda and I first got connected was through this opportunity. I was at Olive Harvey my first go round, and we have a commercial driver's license program, CDL A and B program, but Melinda was interested in the A program for the truck drivers. And she told me what her vision was. She was like, I want some solid folks to put in this program because I think I can build something with them. I'm like, okay, sounds great. New students for me. I wasn't really thinking anything more than that. And so we put the students in the CDL program. She was providing the other supports for them. And when they completed, they were able to end up hiring folks that they started their own business, and it was a snow removal business. They got the trainings for that. They got all the licenses. Melinda was doing her amazing thing in the community and got a snow removal contract for Chatham, which I think was the first time on the south side of Chicago that happened. But then these individuals were ready. They had a business. Now they could go hire some other folks, and they ended up just really doing a great job on that contract.
Yeah, I remember a conversation with you, Tom, where I remember you mentioning that you wanted to make sure that as part of the Create team and the partnership, that if there's an opportunity, sometimes we have to make sure we don't impede the process. We have to make sure we don't impede the profit. But if there are opportunities to create for folks who have that talent or want to start businesses, like the program, the program that Tanisha has, where it's employment, but sometimes entrepreneurship fits just as well. Where you said you wanted to make sure that as diversity consultants, we were paying attention to that. And part of our job was to sort of be the conscious of the Create team to make sure that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We really wanted to have, you used the word earlier, sustainability. So after this project is done, there'll still be a need, there'll still be an opportunity. I don't want to get too corny, but sort of the Olympic model where you have the Olympics, you build stadiums, but then you don't just leave town after the competition's over, that there's a legacy there. And I think you and Alicia are certainly very skilled. I would say for us in business, it gets a little disorienting sometimes, all the different programs and alphabet soup and resources in terms of acronyms. And to have a pathway like that is very important. I know Herbert's on the phone too. The other things we really have tried to do is pick up our game with sort of community giving around the area of the project. So we are active with the Cook County Forest Preserve Foundation, and they have what's called the Citizen Scientist Program. And that group goes in and learns about forestry. And you wouldn't believe the need for forestry in and around railroads and other construction sites. You wouldn't think so, but there's all sorts of spin-off opportunities and innovations that come about as a result of it. So these young people learn how to use chainsaws and kind of scientific methods on preserving or getting rid of invasive species. And so we do that. Herbert's group works with the libraries, the Library Foundation in the area. So yeah, we definitely want a legacy and an impact, and you've all been helpful in creating that for us.
Mr. Smith from Norfolk Southern, would you like to chime in behind that?
No, I think that, you know, for the benefit of the participants, you know, of this afternoon workshop is that the railroads are in partnership with our public partners are trying to be intentional and thoughtful with community sensitive solutions in mind. And so really what you, Melinda, are doing, what Alicia and what our participating panelists is really, we're setting a model here for other parts of the country. This has never been done before. And it's a credit, you know, with Tom and CSX and the efforts that you've led. And it's giving us a direction for us to continue to explore further. So I commend you all. And for those attendees, we are always available by phone or by email for follow-up questions and to assist you. We are here to help. And I think that should be the message, that maybe some of the stuff resonates with you today, but you want some more information, follow up with us. We're in the community and we're going to, you know, be investing in the community for many years to come.
Thank you, Herbert. You know, it's important, I can't reiterate this enough, as if you're in earshot, there are a lot of different ways that you're going to have to, that there are opportunities for you to figure to participate on this project. If you're a small business, there's certification, there's teaming agreements, there's mentor protege programs that we are here and available to help you. So we're hoping that if you're hearing us, we've introducing you to great workforce agencies right there in the area. If you need resources, computers, access to Wi-Fi, please let us know. We're here to help. I can't emphasize enough the partnership with the city colleges throughout the city of Chicago. So it's really about finding what you want and what you need to do and allowing us to help you fit in. I am going to talk a little bit. Lorinda, are you still on the line? And I think, Sam, are you still on the line?
Still here.
Okay, I just wanted to mention one of the things we also did this pilot program, okay, which was necessary, is that there is a great state-of-the-art firm, Lorinda mentioned it in her opening comments, called AGB, that's in the 18th Ward. And what we did do was engage them to make sure that every cohort is aware of what's on their educational background, if there's any criminal background. Why this is important is you need to know what employers get information about you. Sometimes, you know, you can take certain accredited courses and it comes back that what you put on your resume or what you put on your application doesn't match. It could be not on your fault. It could be that the institution that you got the certificate or degree from is no longer certified. So my point is to use all the resources available to you to make sure that you are successful in creating your pathway to construction or entrepreneurship or the unions, whatever that may be. If you need introductions, if you need to know about timelines, we talked about this a lot on the call earlier. Some of the doors or when you can apply, it's not an everyday process to the trade unions. If you need information on that, you should feel free to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Sam, can I get you to add some comments?
The one thing I'll say, just like Michael Kowalski had said earlier today, we know that we're in this pandemic. COVID is not going anywhere. And I'll just be quite frank, there's other pathways right now where people and unemployment is up a little bit, and opportunities are there where, we're just trying to figure out how to move forward. But COVID is here to stay. So when that door opens, we want to make sure that we have this segue for people to be able to participate in these projects. The one great thing is that this will be shared with many, even the Federal Highway Administration, even the Federal Railroad Administration. We will have a link available. One of the things is we want to be able to show in Washington, D.C. that we're proactive. We're getting on the ball. We're moving forward. We are ready when the gates open and people are coming out, that unemployment will be down. We'll see people going back to work with the safety precautions that is needed. So I just commend everyone on the phone, from the railroads to all the consultants to all of the agencies. We are really moving towards a great path of getting everybody back together.
No, that's great. I did see a question in the chat, and I'm going to try and find it before it gets lost in everyone's putting in their contact information. I apologize. Let's see. So one of the questions is any partnerships in Illinois technology where you can take engineering classes? Any responses?
So engineering classes are being taught at Wright College if you're looking at city colleges. But again, I would look at, our aviation tech program. There are other IT type opportunities that are at all 7 colleges as well. But if you want strict engineering, that would be Wright Junior College, Community College.
And there are also some internships that we made sure we got to CPS and others, so we can, I believe they're on the Create website, and if not, we'll make sure that they are there. IDOT has some scholarships, so there are a lot of programs that are available, but we'll make sure, our job is to make sure we get that to you and to the community stakeholders and to your aldermen. So we'll make sure that we get that information up and out. And again, the Create program website is the best place where you can get any information on Create, the projects, the partners, and the program of what we're doing. One of the things we've been very cautious about is that we know there's a lot of projects. There's a metro project, and when we want to make sure we take all the confusion and angst out of where you want to be, what's available, who's digging, who's not digging, who's designing, who's in next phase, which contractors were chosen, and the Create website is the place to find that information. If you have any problem navigating it, again, there's an email there. You can reach out to us and we can help you navigate through that process. Alicia, are you on?
Yes.
Can I get you, just for the sake of those, if anyone who is listening to this workshop and missed the first one, just recap a little bit of that wonderful workshop you did today before we close this out and give some people back their time, and then I'll take last comments from all the panelists and any thoughts. But do you mind doing that?
Of course not. Of course not. Thank you. Again, this morning's workshop consisted of a number of representatives from various unions. I'll put my video on so you can see how excited I am about this whole process and our sessions. But yes, this morning we had a number of representatives from various unions. Again, they took the time to go through what their process is, their application process. Again, giving some insight. We had representatives from the Chicagoland Laborers District Council and Training, as well as Cisco. And Cisco is the construction industry union's educational arm. They specifically go out and conduct outreach events for those that put on that request. Their website, which will be a part of the takeaway when we're done with both sessions, that'll be made available to all attendees and posted on the website. You'll see where you can go out there and you can see where they have listed a number of unions, and they generally have their notifications of when some of the union halls are open. Understand that the union halls are not open 360 days out of the year, that there are certain time periods when those halls open and they accept applications. So you have to stay abreast of that. We also had Trans Systems, which is a construction management firm that was selected by CSX to have oversight on the construction component that'll be coming out shortly with some bid solicitations in the next couple of months or so. Most of the construction will be next year. But again, Mike Evans was there and he was kind of talking about the schedule and what was going to be coming down the line. Again, we had Lisa Cockerham from Dawson Technical Institution, who was real key and went through their program. We had the Operating Engineers Local 150, the Chicago Federation of Labor, the Local 9, which is really a compliment, and they work hand in hand with Olive Harvey College, given Olive Harvey College has courses relative to the CDLA licenses, which is a requirement that they have at Local 9 when coming on board. Additionally, we had representatives from Hire 360, which is very well involved with the unions directly, and had a number of programs that they spoke of where they reimburse candidates for the application process. They have assistance in providing a mechanism for reimbursement relative to transportation as well. And they're very vigilant in going after the contractors to assist when an individual is seeking to get sponsored into the union. Not to mention our Sam Tuck, who's on right now, Melinda, Kelly, as well as, and we've heard from Herbert Smith from Norfolk Southern, and we also heard from the Chicagoland District Council of Training and Apprenticeship Programs. So what we attempted to do was let people hear about some of the various unions, and those that were represented are those that will pretty much be involved with the next phase of construction, because there's a number of unions out there, and I'm sure that you all have heard of them, but we kind of focused on those that would be impacted, particularly by the construction project. So again, you're getting great information. There's all type of incentives out there to encourage you. We want you to think about a career, not a temporary job, that you can take this and have transferable skills to work on a rush project, to work on a call center project that Discover has, to work on a number of other projects that are out here. You want to be a part of that team. So when they're bidding, they always come and provide a bid, and they've identified a certain labor force. So not only do you want to be on a team, if you're not on a team, then they have a certain number of new hires. And then that's where we aggressively go after, looking at their projections and the hires to see whether or not candidates such as yourself, who've gone through the process, who demonstrated that you're committed to try to get you in, not only on those projects, but particularly on Create. Going to be doing some wonderful things with Herbert because we're working on one of his projects over at the EW2. We're doing internship programs. So we're looking at you all holistically, no longer looking at projects in a vacuum, okay? Looking at holistically, and here you've had an example of that, and that we're not just waiting on construction, but we put projects in place for working at the railroads. So again, look at all of these opportunities that are being presented to you, and please be ready so Melinda and I can be your cheerleaders and get you placed somewhere. And thank you, Melinda, for letting me talk and do a recap.
No, thank you, Alicia. Lorinda, I am glad to announce that Lorinda was one of the inaugural cohorts from the pilot program. She is now a staple at Chatham Business Association, and I think she's on her second cohort of getting them involved, and they're able to take welding. They've picked up obviously some sponsorships from other corporations. And so we're grateful for the seed that was created by this team in partnership with the other workforce agencies. So again, that as Mr. Smith said, and as Tom said, we can do in Illinois what we do best, which is make sure that it works well for Illinois, for all Illinoisans in the area. Tanisha, do you have any comments or last comments before we move? And then I'll go to Dr. Mckenzie, and then Sheryl, and then Tom will be the closing.
Thank you so much, Melinda. I appreciate listening to everyone here on the panel. I know we're all doing great work. I did put our contact information, Eman's contact information, as well as our Weekend Warrior application, which we're doing some recruiting. So if you have any individuals that may be interested, our website is also there as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Mckenzie?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, hey, thanks for this opportunity to speak with you all this afternoon. If any of your adults or students need help with financial aid or college admissions, let us know. So here, I put my information in the chat also.
Okay. Sheryl?
Now, it looks like someone asked, how do they get connected to the CREATE program? Would that be through Tom or Melinda?
Well, it says also the location of the CREATE. So I was going to have Tom, he can talk about the area. I thought they were asking, we can do both, but I think they were asking the location.
Gotcha. So again, thank you for letting me talk a little bit about City Colleges. Now that I'm at Olive Harvey College, would love to connect anyone that's interested in getting a CDL license or working in the aviation industry. We also have diesel and auto tech programming here. So again, I've added my email address, cfreeman26@ccc.edu. Would love to connect. Hi.
Tom, and can you also talk about the area for the CREATE project?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Again, thank you everybody for the opportunity to participate with you. The location, CREATE, we're talking a lot about kind of a certain area of projects, but it's actually 70 projects across the Chicago region, of which about 34 of them are completed. And so they really are throughout Chicago and what's called the collar counties. But the one that's the area of focus and the communities we're talking about today are just east of Western Avenue, between 79th Street and 71st Street. And it involves both a flyover, which is a rail line going over a rail line, as well as a grade separation, which is the rail going over the street, which will help regional mobility. And Herbert, what would you say is the kind of the address for your project?
Approximately 7900 South Kedzie Avenue, all the way east to probably 87th and the Dan Ryan. So about a 4 or 5 mile stretch with about $500 million worth of construction and design engineering that's secured, and another 600 to 800 million that we will be attempting to secure. So very, very defined, very small area for a lot of infrastructure that will be invested in the coming years.
There's projects in Dalton and Bridgeview and Chicago, so all throughout. But as Herbert mentioned, his project is connected to our project. It's really one project, and it's just a little bit to the east. And just to wrap it up, then again, thank you very much. We've learned a lot through this process as a railroad industry, as a CSX, and there's a heck of a lot more work to be done. We know in terms of engaging with the community and honoring our commitments and doing things that are important to us with each other as we build the projects. So many thanks, and Melinda, many thanks for organizing this.
No, thank you. And again, if you have any questions, you can go to createprogram.com, get any information, ask any questions. We'll make sure that we get back to you. And thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle, should we, I'll put leave.